Come on, Dale.
What do you want? Let's see it.
Stand up so they know who you are.
I think so.
The whole town knows who Dale is.
There is a ballot box for anyone voting, all right? We are going over drugs and alcohol today.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions about voting? Yes. Who's Dale? Oh, Deb. Deb is out on route, but she is going to stop by as soon as she gets back because she's pretty much been the person who coordinates everything for the committee.
Just got the short one here. Drive 60
All right, we do have two new drivers, Nancy in the back,
Hi, Nancy.
and we have Tamika up front here. Welcome.
Is it something you said? Is it something you
I don't know if you guys saw it, we did put up on the board some things, National School Bus Safety Week is this week. Those posters are what communications put together for us, and they'll be sent out this week. And then we'll also do a little clip, a little video of a pre-trip, just to give the community an idea of what you guys do every single day. Yeah, it's not just get on the bus, let's go. You know, there's a lot that's entailed to this job, and we feel like they should know all of that, and they should be educated in what they can do to help us keep the children safe. So that'll be going out this week. I don't know if the stats are actually on what was posted, so I do want to go over it a little bit. More than 51,000 vehicles illegally passed stop school buses on a single day during the 21-22 school year. So when you guys do that survey for us once a year, that's where this comes from. They only had 22% of school bus drivers participate in that survey. So when you adjust it, if 100% would have participated, let's see, these numbers when adjusted, school bus drivers across the country show that unfortunately illegal passing of stopped school buses are at an epidemic level. Extraportionate from the sampling of bus drivers suggests that motorists committed more than 41.8 million violations during the 180-day school year. So we really have to be vigilant when we're watching our mirrors, watching what our kids are doing. Because unfortunately, there are those people that will pass you. And we have 2 stop arms now, and they will still pass. I was giving a driving test the other day to a new driver. We had going eastbound, crossing over Peck Road on Kesslinger. It's a no passing zone, clearly a no passing zone. This driver was doing the speed limit, and we had a car pass us. I ended up sitting there at the light with them. I knew to say something, but I was like, no. Yep, it just zipped right around us. I know Randy was working on the important dates. Do we have a final answer?
What is that? Once.
So November 8th, I don't know if you guys saw that on the calendar, it's a federal holiday now, it's a voting holiday, which means we don't transport. Anytime it's a federal holiday, it doesn't matter typically, even if St. Pete's is going, we're gonna have to contact them and let them know there will not be any transportation service. Did you get a final on sped?
Yep, we've got to confirm for all St. Pete's and for special needs that there is no transportation on November 8th.
Okay. Go ahead.
We get paid.
We get paid.
I don't think it's negotiated yet for that day.
We'll try.
I will double check though, because it is federal.
I thought it was federal when they said we couldn't get paid.
I believe they did.
We should have answered.
Dale, better get on it.
Okay. We'll not be waiting for the answer.
I'm not taking blame for this one. Brings up a good point. So if you guys have something that you think you want negotiated,
It is paid.
it is St. Jeannie. You do need to let your committee members know.
Do the teachers get paid?
Teachers
We
always-
do get paid. I just checked.
The teachers get underpaid, oh, do they?
I agree with you.
Yes. It's a federal thing. It's a,
All right, so we were waiting for that final answer, so we will reissue the November important dates, just so we're all on the same page. All right, reminders, do not pull up by the office, do not pull up by the pumps unless you're fueling. Okay, and we continue to see people pulling up here, and we can't have it. We shouldn't have to have the mechanics constantly watching for people or vehicles that are in the way. If one of us has to leave because of a bus accident in a hurry, it really isn't fair to us, you know, to constantly have vehicles up here that we're trying to watch out for. You do not get extra time to fuel. So you guys get 2 15-minute pre-trips every day to do those things. To sweep your bus, to empty your garbage, to fuel if you need to. So, coming back and staying on the clock to fuel is not appropriate. Any questions on that? And then, pull all the way up. At the high school and the middle school, we get drivers saying that it's difficult because the people up front are pulling all the way up. If you are first, either first or second wave at the high school and you're not sure how far you need to pull up, just ask another driver. They'll be more than happy to help you with how far you need to be. Any questions on that? Right. We talked about the drivers committee. We have Deb Marks, Jackie Morris, Shirley King, Dale Martin, Mike Heine, and Mary Prestige. So they're the ones that should be on your list and who you're picking from. There are letters up there that they've written, if anyone is curious. All right, in the shop, a couple of things. And some of you may have already noticed that Jacob hasn't been here in the morning. So Jacob is going back to school to become a diesel mechanic. So we worked out an arrangement so that he can do that, where he will not be here in the mornings and he will work 11:30 to 5:30. So we are changing the way we're doing things. The fluid checks at the garage are now being done in the afternoon from 4:30 to 5:30. Field trip buses before PMs or first thing in the morning. So if you're not here to get that fluid check in the afternoon, that's when they're doing that. The middle schools are staying the same, the AMs, Jeremy's just gonna go over and get those done. So if you can, we appreciate you coming in the afternoon for DEF. DEF just is gonna make it a lot easier on them out in the shop. Already have people talking about the heat. There is a mechanism down by the floor, and you can probably explain it better than I can, but we don't go under the hoods and turn the heat off. Does anyone not know where that is for the heat down by the floor?
Or look at it, but I'm gonna read it too, so.
On the big buses, in your footwell area, there's a rubber flap, and underneath of there is a lever. That is the only lever that we've ever pulled or turned to turn off the heat. We don't turn off the ones in the engine bay. So if your heat is not coming on, I would check that valve first. For little buses, it shouldn't matter. You guys, we never turn those ones off.
But we did want to bring up for the little buses, the air conditioning, right?
The air conditioning, yes. In little buses, a lot of the air conditioning units are breaking. What we're finding is when we go to pull the air conditioning, a lot of them, only the front is running. If you do not run both of them at the same time, it will break the system. They are designed to run at the same time together, and it is not cheap to get those fixed, especially right now when parts are hard to find.
There's a warning label on
There is. All of them have a warning label that says run units at the same time. So if you're getting too cold running both units, then you can probably just put down the windows.
Hey Matt,
Yes.
when the heater's on, the unit over the door, that fan, does that help the heater too, or just only the air conditioner?
Are you talking about you're talking about like the actual fan that's hanging down?
No, there's, like the knob that you use for the air conditioning,
Yeah.
does that fan push warm air when you
No.
have the heater on? Okay, okay.
That's the rear heat in the little buses, there's a little dial that goes up and down that says auxiliary fan. That is the heater.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Yeah, who's the new guy?
The other thing I had on the list, before it got this cold was, there's no need to warm up the buses. It was 60 degrees outside and we had buses running, trying to get them warmed up. And with the diesel, it's pretty much pointless anyway, because you have to be moving. So let's not let those buses just sit there and run. Field trips. And throw this out there, we had talked about maybe putting together a field trip committee. Because we have a lot of new drivers, and this committee would be more to help the newer drivers or us put together a, kind of like a book, maybe, places that you go downtown, like the little secrets that people who have done those trips know. But if you've never done a trip to Chicago, you don't know those little things. You don't know where you can park. You don't know the best way maybe to get to the place that you're going. So it's something we've kind of thrown out there to see if there would be any interest in participating in that. Yes, no? No? Okay.
Is there a shared folder or something that you could throw that stuff on?
Yeah, we do use Teams, so that would not be an issue. We could put it all into Teams where they could look it up.
You used to have a big book. Is that gone?
That is gone. I think it became very antiquated, unfortunately, with all the programs that are out there now. But as we all know, you can look stuff up on Google Maps. That doesn't mean it's the best way to go. And it's certainly not gonna tell you, where you can park for free. And it doesn't even have to be just the Chicago trips. There are plenty of trips that, people may have questions on. Let's see.
Would it be easier for, like, if it's a new driver going downtown next Wednesday, Teresa will use you. So wouldn't it be quicker if she were just to send an email to everybody, hey, any help would be appreciated? Then somebody who may have been there could respond. Because then it's an individual spot that she's going, because not everybody has been everywhere. So, and then you know who needs that help, and somebody will come up to bat. Instead of having, we haven't been everywhere, but if you have been to the specific spot, I would think somebody would respond with, yeah, you know, go sit on Canal Street, go to Jason's, go get a sandwich, whatever.
I could do it that way, and maybe put those responses into, you know, start compiling all the responses. So, I don't know if all of you know, but any one of you can use the all transportation. When you're in your email, and you want something to go to everyone, it's all transportation. That's the email address, and it will go to every single driver on your bus. If you wanted to go to everyone, but you don't want everyone getting all the responses, you put your name in. Who's this email going to? Use your name. And then you blind copy BCC, that area there. That's where you put all transportation. And that way it goes to everyone, but not everyone is getting all the responses to it. So the buses that are going, when you have several buses going on a trip, your senior person should be your lead driver. And let's just say you have 4 people going. Your second senior driver should be last. The 2 newest people should be in the middle. And we do it that way in case you get separated. Then that person in back, third person can slow down, and that person can take the lead for them. Make sense? So that is the way you should be lining up. Your most senior first, and then last. Any questions on that? Your most senior driver picks the route. I mean, you can definitely have discussions about it. Maybe you found a better way to go since that senior driver has taken a trip. But the senior driver does pick the route that you're going to go. Okay? And then, last but not least, bus evacs are posted for 2 weeks. We've spread them out a little bit, but so get signed up so that we can get all the students through these bus evacuations. Do you have anything?
I just have one more from the shop. Now that it's getting below 60 degrees on a consistent basis, the wash bay is heated and the heat has been kicking on. So if you're parking in bays 3 or 4, you guys need to make sure that you are shutting the doors and either pre-tripping inside the bays or pull the bus all the way out and pre-trip outside and shut the door. Because otherwise we got that heat continuously trying to go and it burns up those heaters pretty quick. You need to make sure you're shutting the doors there.
One more thing. We have a lot of requests for time off. We are doing the best that we can, but we are covering a lot of runs. So again, we ask if you can make your appointments in between your AM and PM. Even, covering your midday is a lot easier than covering an AM and PM route. And we did change the request for time off. So now you do have to initial at least one of these I understand this is a blocked out date. Early dismissal day, day before or after an extended break, day before or after a holiday. Or it is not. So it's going back on you guys to look at your calendars. We have 20 calendars to look at, and, you know, we're trying to keep up with new people. And we keep getting requests and, to extend long weekends, which everybody wants to do. I get it. I want the lower plane fare too. I want the extra day to drive. But we need to be here for the school days. We need to try to plan our time off, you know, over the holidays. If you have the week of Thanksgiving off, over the Christmas break, winter break, our spring break, summer. There are lots of days off for school bus drivers that we need to be using those days, rather than requesting all this time off. Questions on that? All right. Right, we're gonna go over drugs and alcohol. I don't know if you wanna do this or want me to. Matter? Don't matter, no.
I don't know how to listen to people.
Yeah. This guy comes back. All right. So our objectives here, you need to remember, this is, you guys have a CDL. You know, I know in years past, it was almost treated differently because you're school bus drivers, but everything is federal now, as you know, because you had to sign up for the clearinghouse, right? So now we're bound by federal regulations. So when it says CMV, and I know there's gonna be things in here where you're gonna be like, but that's not really something that pertains to us. Keep in mind how it pertains to the job that you are performing. You're gonna be able to identify what types of testing drivers can expect under various circumstances, and explain the alcohol and drug testing procedures, because there is more than one. As you guys know, we do randoms, we do if there's an accident. Describe the consequences of violating these laws, and recognize the effects of alcohol abuse and drug use and how they impair driving abilities. So first of all, are you guys in a safety sensitive function? Yeah. And you're driving school kids around, right? You are considered a safety sensitive driver, employee. Alcohol and drug use that could affect the performance of a safety sensitive function is prohibited. All time from the time a driver begins work or is required to be in readiness to work until the time he or she is relieved from work, and all responsibility for performing that work. Any of those times, you could be, an example, someone's sitting but they think, oh, I'm not gonna be driving. You're still on duty, you're still getting paid. Safety sensitive functions include waiting to be dispatched, inspecting, servicing, or conditioning a CMV, so when you're doing your pre-trip inspection in the morning, time at the controls when you're driving your school bus, time in or on a CMV, and this is where I say, I know this doesn't pertain, but they have to put it in there because you do have a legal CDL now. Not that you weren't legal before. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? There were a lot of rules that didn't apply before, or a lot of things that weren't brought up. But now when I test somebody, I'm testing them to say that yes, they could leave here and drive a truck, not just a school bus license. Loading, unloading, or attending to a CMV, being loaded or unloaded, remaining ready to operate a CMV, giving or receiving receipts for shipments loaded or unloaded, repairing, obtaining assistance, or in attendance on the disabled CMV. Alcohol prohibitions include use while you are performing a safety-sensitive function, use during the 4 hours before you perform a safety-sensitive function. And I would say this could be even longer depending on how much you were drinking, right? Because typically they say 8 hours you need. Reporting for duty or remaining on duty to perform a safety-sensitive function with an alcohol concentration of 0.04 or greater. Do you know what it is for reporting to duty? What's the limit?
Zero.
Zero tolerance, right? Yeah. That's your own personal vehicle, 0.04. Use during the 8 hours following an accident. Because we do have 8 hours to pull you back in, to take a test. Unless you take the test, then obviously you're okay then. Refusing to take a required test. A refusal is a positive. And for drugs, using any drug or substance identified in 21 CFR 1308.11 Schedule 1, which there's a list if anyone needs it or just is curious. I know a lot of people have asked just because they're curious. Using any non-Schedule 1 drug or substance, testing positive for drugs, having an adulterated or substituted drug test result, or refusing to take a required test. We all know what this means, right? Deb, do you and Jackie want to introduce yourselves? So, yeah, I just put 2 and 2 together. Took me a minute, it's Monday. Come on down.
Look at him walking the red curb.
Oh, you're supposed to know why.
Hi. Anybody else? Mike Heine could stand out.
Oh, there he is.
Come on, Mike.
Dale's here too.
Dale.
Come on, Dale.
Come on, Dale.
Where's Mary?
Where's Mary Christine?
She's driving.
She's driving.
Okay, so ballot boxes here, your ballots are in your mailboxes if you didn't know that already. This will be put away shortly after the safety meeting and put back out for tomorrow's safety meeting. We are your candidates, missing Shirley and Mary Christie. So, any questions for us before we depart? Before we depart?
It's the new people we don't really know or know us, so here we are. I've been missing in action for a couple days, so I haven't been able to see anybody, but
Campaign.
no.
Okay.
No
Maybe you
campaign.
can give them some thoughts of what you guys are thinking. Like, I know we had a suggestion in the suggestion box for a concession, what do you call it?
Vending machine.
Oh,
Vending
vending
machine.
machines, yeah.
We tried it. They took it out because everything got outdated. So that's why there's no vending machine.
Anybody? Suggestions?
Okay, just figured we'd let you know who we are, what our faces are.
And if you do have something, you can always email them.
Yep.
And there's a suggestion box that's usually in the back, so if you wanna stay anonymous.
This is the,
Oh,
this is the
it?
suggestion box, it's doubling right now. But it
No
will be,
suggestions right now.
right, yeah, just ballots, please. The suggestion box is always back in the, under the driver to driver board. When you do put a suggestion in, we do need to have your name on it, so we know it's serious and we can come back to you and tell you whether it's actually something we can address or not. So, that's all for suggestions, but, okay, vote.
All right. Failing an alcohol test, testing positive for drugs, or refusing to take a required alcohol and/or drug test will result in you being removed from all safety-sensitive functions until you go through a return to duty process. And this is where things will change a little bit, because the district has a policy that you will no longer have a job. You have to take those tests. Types of tests. Pre-employment, all of you have gone through that. All drivers prior to performing safety-sensitive functions for a motor carrier for the first time or school bus must be tested for drug use and have a negative test result. Post-accident. Both a post-accident alcohol test and drug test are required if an accident occurred and any person involved in the accident dies, you are cited for a moving traffic violation and the accident involved injury requiring immediate medical attention, or you are cited for a moving traffic violation and the accident resulted in the towing of one or more vehicles from the scene. Any questions on that? I know many years ago, the district kind of as a policy, theirs was if there's more than $500 worth of damage, well, that's every accident with a school bus. School bus versus another vehicle, it's every single accident. So this is what we are now, where we're at. Post-accident, alcohol testing is required as soon as possible when these conditions are met and when a citation is issued within 8 hours of the accident. Drug testing is required as soon as possible when these conditions are met and when the citation is issued within 32 hours of the accident. And that's drug testing. Random testing, unannounced random testing is required for a certain percentage of drivers each year. Random tests must be announced and spread reasonably throughout the year, which you guys know. Most of you have probably at some point or another been called in for a random. And these are handled by Midwest truckers. We do not have anything to do with the randomness of it and who gets pulled. You guys are put in with a whole group of other people. So we could go a month with having no one pulled, or we could have 8 people pulled. Random testing for alcohol must be completed just before, during, or immediately after performing a safety-sensitive function. So if you don't have a midday, it really makes no sense in doing 11 o'clock. That's why we always do it right after AMs. Random testing for drugs may be performed at any time while you're at work for your motor carrier. Why is that? It's still in your system, right? It's not good. Not like alcohol where it may wear off. Reasonable suspicion. Reasonable suspicion testing is required if your supervisor has reason to believe that your behavior or appearance may indicate alcohol abuse or drug use. So Matt and I, and eventually Kelly, we have been through reasonable suspicion training. You have to go through that training before you could say to someone like, I'm not comfortable with you going on, I don't know what's going on, but we need to go get a test. This testing must be based on the observations of a trained supervisor, and his or her suspicions must be based on specific, clearly stated observations of your appearance, your behavior, your speech, or body odor? Or all of the above? The regulations require that a supervisor observe you personally. So it can't be someone coming to me saying, hey, I don't think this person looks right this morning. I have to see it myself. Have to be trained according to the regulations to make a reasonable suspicious determination and be able to document the observations that led to ordering the suspicion test. Observations for reasonable suspicion alcohol testing must be made just before, during, or just after you perform safety sensitive functions, so same thing as our other testing. Observations for reasonable suspicion drug testing must be made at any time while you are at work or your motor carrier. Famous randoms. Return to duty. You must be evaluated by a substance abuse professional and participate in the education and or treatment program prescribed by the SAP if you failed an alcohol test, tested positive for drugs, or refused an alcohol and or drug test. Again, with the district, you will no longer have a job. This is more for your CDL. So say you want to try to use your CDL to drive a truck or something else, you want to try to get that permission back, you could try going to an SAP, but it's pretty strict now. I don't know that that would even work. The number and frequency of follow-up tests are determined by the SAP, but must consist of at least 6 tests during the first 12 months following your return to duty. All alcohol testing is conducted by a trained, qualified breath alcohol technician or screening test technician in a private setting. The technician will introduce himself or herself and then ask you for your photo identification. A screening test will be conducted. The testing devices you may encounter include breath testing, saliva, or breath tube. When the screening test is complete, the technician must show you the reading on the device and enter the result on the testing form. Like, when I walked away, everything was smooth. I don't know what he did. Go for Alright, so the technician will ask you to provide photo identification. You will need to remove any outer clothing, set aside your bag, your briefcase, or a purse, empty your pockets, fill out the custody and control form, and wash and dry your hands. The technician divides your sample into 2 containers. You must initial the labels to certify the sample collected was yours. And at the laboratory, an initial test is performed on the first sample. If this test is positive for the presence of drugs, then they have that other sample that they can test. And it can be, another test can be conducted. If the test results are positive, the MRO, which is the medical review officer, will investigate the reasons for this result. You have 72 hours to request that the MRO order a test of the split specimen by a different lab. You do have that right. And they are really good at keeping track of it 72 hours. I'm gonna tell you, they will call myself, if something happened, call me immediately and tell me that we have a start clock on one of your employees. Like, a what?
Wow.
Yeah. A refusal to test is treated the same as a failed alcohol test or a positive drug test. If you refuse to be tested, you cannot continue to perform safety-sensitive functions, which include driving. Situations considered a refusal to submit to a test include just declining to take the test, failing to appear for any test within a reasonable time, failing to remain at the testing site until the testing is complete, failing to provide a specimen for testing. So you know how you have to sit there. Once you get there, if you go over to driver for your physical, and you're like, can't go. You have to stay there until you can. Otherwise, this is where this comes in. You fail to provide, right? Failing an alcohol test for, or testing positive for drugs, you must be removed immediately. You may not return to a safety-sensitive function unit until an evaluation by an SAP And you can read through this, but again, with the district, you would not return at all. You're subject to 6 follow-up tests, which they said before, in the first 12 months after you return, if you return. And that can be for up to 5 years. And the effects of alcohol and drugs. The symptoms of alcohol use or abuse include slowed reactions, dull mental processes, poor coordination, and bad judgment. Long-term effects of alcohol use and abuse include liver damage, heart attack, stroke, cancers, and brain damage. The symptoms of drug use include slowed reactions, slowed thinking, confusion, anxiety, hallucinations, changes in vision, and dizziness. Long-term effects of drug use include depression, memory loss, lung infections, cancer, brain damage, cardiac arrest, seizures, coma, and death. Over-the-counter medications and even prescription medications may interfere with your ability to drive safely. What's the best way to know? Either don't do it or ask your physician if they prescribe it to you. If it says on there to not operate heavy machinery, that should be a huge clue. And you shouldn't be driving a school bus. Drowsiness. You know, maybe you need to wait to take that medication. All right, this is what you guys should know now. The alcohol and drug prohibitions that apply to CMV operators. You should be able to identify what types of testing you can expect or experience under various circumstances. You guys name one? One type of testing for your position.
Urine.
How about random? Alright, so we got random and we have post-accident
Suspicion.
Yeah. Reasonable suspicion. Explain the alcohol and drug testing procedures. You probably know that better from going to your physical every year or having the randoms done here. This presentation. Consequences here at the district for violating these.
You fired.
Dismissal. Yep. The effects of alcohol abuse and drug use. How do they impair your driving?
Slow reaction time.
Low reactions. What's that?
Bad judgment.
I feel like I'm getting old. What? I always have good hearing. Nothing else.
Did you hear that one?
No.
Harry, I need a drug test from you right now.
He said awesome hearing.
That's a random from Mary, right
It's
there.
random, all right.
Suspicion.
Any other questions on any of that?
Mary, it's safe to assume that even though you have prescription, it still might not be legal.
Correct. And another thing I should bring up, if you have THC in your system, which is pot, marijuana, you cannot get that from being around someone who's smoking it. Just so you guys know, when you inhale, the THC stays in your system. What gets blown out is not THC. Even if you're in an enclosed car with somebody who's smoking it, you are not gonna have THC in your system, or not enough for a drug test. So, it's not something, that you could use as an excuse, just so you know, like, it doesn't work that way. Matt, do you have anything you wanna add, or anything in general?
Did you mention the CBD oil?
Nope, I did not.
So CBD oil, while it is legal and there are ones that say no THC in it, it is not federally governed, meaning they can put whatever they want on that label, whether it be true or not. So if you are taking one that says 0 THC, giving it to someone else, it's through absorption. So if you get it on your fingers, if you're giving it to your dog or whatever, and you come up positive, you will fail that test.
This did happen in King County to a school bus driver.
Yeah.
So, it labeled clearly no THC. And I think, that person was not even using it, they were using it for their spouse's knee or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a lotion.
yeah, it's for
Right?
pain,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, it didn't matter, she got an attorney, it did not matter, it was in her system. You gotta be very careful. Put gloves on if you need to help someone else.
Like, what is it? It's a, well,
CBD
basically
oil
like a
is-
lotion.
They take the oil out of hemp or out of pot and they make it into all different kinds of things nowadays. But the oil is supposed to be a way of helping you with different kinds of things without having to
Pain.
smoke.
Basically.
With pain, anxiety, all different kinds of things.
How long does it stay in? You know?
A long time, I think.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I know when you smoke it, they say about 30 days, so I would assume about the same.
Any other questions?
Okay, I have a question. Patty's making me ask it. So we've all gotten in accidents before a while ago, that weren't our fault, like I got rear-ended, whatever, but we never had to take drug tests. Is it different now? Is it different now? I got rear-ended by that high school kid, I don't know if you remember, a long time ago.
Well, that wasn't your fault.
Right, so it didn't change over the years?
So it's not your fault.
If it's not your fault, you don't get drug tested?
Well, I mean, if I show up and you don't look right,
No, I
other
mean
than
in an
that, no.
accident.
Right.
Yeah.
But you were not cited for that.
No.
That's where the rule comes in.
Oh.
If you are cited and there's
Oh.
a death, well, if there's a death period, you're gonna get tested. But
Yeah.
If you're cited and there's an injury or a
And it
vehicle-
doesn't mean because we think there's anything wrong with you, it's really protecting you and protecting the
Yeah.
district.
Yeah.
So that's why, because it wasn't our fault. And the farmer put it to top of your bus.
Do you guys know how much each one of you are insured for? $2 million.
Holy cow.
like,
Yes, we do. We do everything we can to protect the district.
Wow.
Kathy?
so what does that cover? Like, we all have our own personal, insurances, like liabilities and stuff for driving, so that 2 million, would that be, okay, so say, like, I was paralyzed or something, would that help my medical bills or my family? Oh, it
Anything
would?
to do with an accident.
Oh, wow.
Oh, good.
Jim, did you have a question? Jim, did you have a question?
Yeah, it's off the subject a little bit, but regarding that training that we did on computer,
The GCNs? Yes.
Yeah.
You had a question?
oh, yeah. What are we gonna get paid?
As soon as you told me that you did it, I put it in for that week to be entered. Any other questions?